As a practitioner in the trauma healing profession, I'm always helping other people with the issues that cause distress in their lives. But a couple weeks ago, I had my own big stressor, which was a conflict with my neighbor over his car that was waking me up at 5 a.m. every morning. And it had been going on for months while I waited for him to make it quieter, and I couldn't tell if it was happening, and it would take me like an hour to go back to sleep because I was so triggered by it. Finally, I sent him an angry text, and then he got angry and threatened to make the car even louder, and now we're in like a conflict. And I was like, oh my God, I don't see any way out of this. So I decided to walk my talk and do the same work on myself that I would do with a client who is in this situation, which is to find and heal the traumas that are causing me to be triggered. And so the first thing I found was this deep generational trauma that made me feel powerless and oppressed. And I spent the whole day working on it, and it actually lifted. But my neighbor still seemed kind of evil and like he wanted to cause me harm. And this is actually because of a phenomenon called an E-chord, which is basically a trauma-based interaction with another person that makes them feel evil, hence the E. And so the cure to this is something called DPR, which basically means that you have to love and admire the person unconditionally for being this way. And so I did that as I was falling asleep, and I felt this big release in my chest. And then when I thought about him, he just seemed like a normal guy. And so this was a big change. Lo and behold, the next morning, I still heard the car, but I just kind of didn't care about it anymore. I went back to sleep after 5 minutes, and I realized that the reason it had taken me so long to go back to sleep before was because I was so triggered and I felt powerless and he felt threatening to me. And so now that that was gone, I just went back to sleep. And I realized that the car actually was somewhat quieter. I just hadn't noticed because I was so triggered. And my neighbor was angry because he felt like I hadn't acknowledged the work that he'd done. And so I apologized, and I told him I'd found a way to adapt and that I wasn't going to make this an issue anymore. And magically, he became friendly again. He even apologized for his part in the conflict, and he said that he is actually still working to make it quieter. It's just taking time. This is the power of healing work. In less than 2 days, I went from feeling completely victimized, no-win situation, to then being able to resolve it in a way where we could both live in peace. And this is normal for trauma healing work, whether it's finding the answer to a long-standing dilemma or solving issues with your romantic partner or even moving forward in business. You might not think that trauma has anything to do with these situations, but trauma is actually central to any experience of limitation or difficulty or conflict. So if you'd like to see if I can help you resolve a difficult situation in your life, send me a message, book a consultation. My consultations are free. We do healing work in the consultations so you can try it and see if it's a good fit. I would love to help you move forward and have peace and harmony in your life.